Be upset a couple of weeks ago, Valenzuela, Delos Santos, and I'd like to help the kid out, Valenzuela. He's from my area, Pacific Northwest, and I met him one time and I didn't even know, I wouldn't have known it unless my fighter told me when he started to come up in the pros. But I brought a 115-pound pro, my kid, over to spar at Azteca Boxing Club, Seattle. And when you spar at Azteca, you're getting a good quality fighter, tough fighter, all of them. So my kid's pro and Valenzuela was amateur then, maybe, I don't know, it was 2017, 18. And my kid's having a hard time with this southpaw kid. Now I know why, yeah. So it was even sparring. So I was really impressed, but I didn't put it together, like I said, until Carlos told me. I wouldn't have known to this day unless Carlos told me. So anyway, and I can't remember his style back then, if he had this, if he did that. So I'm thinking, I know the Benavides, David and Jose, they're fronted up, doing all this. So I hope that style really didn't rub off on Valenzuela to where he's really starting to do that. Because I'll tell you what, you don't teach a kid to fight like Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones, or the Benavides fighters. They got their own style, and that's fine. They're making it work. And I love the Benavides. David should be the people's champion in my book. They'll fight anybody talks shit to them, they say, let's sign the contract, and then they back out, and you know the story. All right, let's get into it. A southpaw, usually, you know how I am, you've seen my videos. You want the jab hand about a foot out there further than the right hand. You want to be turned sideways, less of a target. And you can do more this way. You can slip down the power hand from Delos Santos, the left hand comes. You can get down and come up with a left uppercut, vice versa with conventional. But you can just do more like Delos Santos was doing, slipping the fronted up Valenzuela. So this has to stop with the kid. You don't want to expose your whole body. You don't want this high guard. All you do is shove a jab in between the two gloves here and the person's completely blinded. So Valenzuela has to keep his stance the whole time sideways. Just like Bernard Hopkins always kept his stance. That's why he could be world champion. What, 48, 49? It was old school. Bernard Hopkins. Yeah, the jabs, Delos Santos would do this sometimes, but I mean, it was only a second. He wouldn't do that all the time. But most of the time, he was turned, that jab hand was, and bam, it's going to get there a lot quicker than if you're going to jab like this. In fact, this is how I think this all came about, this stuff. When Roy Jones was robbed in the Olympics, they went to clicker scoring in amateurs. So you got a clicker here for red, you got a clicker here for blue. So blue lands a punch, you click. Count up the clickers, the punches, and that's who wins the fight. Well, they didn't score body shots when they were doing that. And I definitely know when I had my guy at Nationals, and he had to fight the #1 seed who went on to fight Earl Spence in the finals at the Nationals, and Earl Spence beat this guy. But anyway, it was like 14-2 with my guy, and that guy actually came up to us later and said, "Man, I still feel those body shots from Nate." But you know, they didn't score. In other words, if you throw in a body shot there, the judges may not see it if they're right behind, but you know, headshots, you pretty much, all the judges can click and see. But they weren't counting body shots. So then what did all the fighters do? You're not counting body? Protect the head. So this is how they started a fight when they went to clickers. That's my theory on it. Could be wrong. I don't teach 8-year-old kids to fight like that. I used to get mad at one of my fighters who used to do that. He could do it pretty good and make it work, but then he would let his opponent hit him, and they weren't scoring, but it still wasn't looking good with the judges. I didn't like him giving away anybody hitting him on the arms or anywhere. So I teach a kid, jab hand out. If you can't bring a hand up a little bit, I want clear vision. If you can't bring a hand up to parry or block and slip punches a little bit, you know. But I don't want somebody. Valenzuela was depending on this for his whole defense, this. False sense of security with those gloves. So Delos Santos would come right down the middle. Of course, Blindham could come around, do anything he wanted. His punch is going to get there first if he's sideways. He has clear vision. So they need to get the kid in the gym, have him sideways, right shoulder higher than the left, you know, moving his head, rolling under stuff. Sure, Pitbull can do that. He makes it work. He's, what is he, 5'3", 5'4"? He gets lower. And Valenzuela was standing straight up, and he's tall for that weight class. So there's plenty there exposed. But Pitbull, he's short, he makes this work. So he gets like this, and he uses different levels a lot. Pitbull will get even lower when they're throwing, then burst out of this. And you got to remember, Pitbull's shorter. So he doesn't have to bring the hands down to punch to get it the shoulder behind it. He's shorter than these guys, so he can go boom, boom. He's punching up a little, so he can have them here. He makes it work. There's always an exception. But Valenzuela doesn't need to be doing this. That's got to stop. All right, thanks for watching.